If you have a room that your central air does not reach well, or you rent and cannot mount a window unit, or you just want targeted cooling where you actually spend time, this is the category that makes sense. A portable air conditioner is not magic, but when it is done right, it gives you fast relief and real flexibility. I move between a small office during the day and a larger living area in the evening, so I wanted something I could roll between rooms, set up quickly, and trust to keep the temperature steady even during hot, humid days. The design here is simple in the best way. It is a clean white box with rounded edges and a clear front display that you can read from across the room, even when the lights are dim. It is a little more than knee-high, a touch over 2 feet tall, and it weighs around 65 pounds. On paper, that sounds heavy. In daily use, the built-in wheels glide smoothly and the hidden side handles give you a solid grip, so I do not have to wrestle with it when I move it from the office to the living room. The body feels solid. Nothing rattles and the panels do not flex when you roll it over a rug threshold. The exhaust hose is sturdy, the adapters click into place without fuss, and once it is seated in the window plate, it stays put. Setup was straightforward. The window kit has a sliding plate that I adjusted to fit a standard single-hung window. The parts slot together cleanly. I did have to read the quick guide to make sure the foam seals were placed where they should be, and that made a noticeable difference in keeping hot air from leaking back into the room. Measured from opening the box to cold air blowing, I was around 20 minutes the first time, and faster after that. If you have never used a portable air conditioner before, the only part that takes a minute is getting the window seal snug. It is worth taking the extra moment because proper sealing is what lets the compressor work efficiently. Living with it is refreshingly simple. The control panel uses big, clearly labeled buttons, and the display is bright but not blinding at night. The remote is the thing I reach for the most. It lets me change modes, set the temperature, bump the fan speed, and start the 24-hour timer from the couch or from bed. The signal range is forgiving. I can point it loosely and it still registers. There is a sleep mode that gradually eases the fan and nudges the temperature so I do not wake up freezing at 2 in the morning. There is a child lock on the remote as well, which has saved me from accidental button presses when I grab it in the dark. Cooling performance is where this unit earns its keep. 14,000 British thermal units on the box does not mean much until you feel it. In my office, which is about 260 square feet with afternoon sun on one wall, the temperature drops quickly. On a hot day, I started at around 78 degrees Fahrenheit and saw the display ease down to the low 70s within that first quarter hour. Leave it on high for longer, and it will push the room into chilly territory. In a larger open living area, the difference is not instant, but it is still far stronger than most small units I have used before. The airflow has some real throw to it, and if I set the swing to fan air across the room, I do not get hot and cold pockets the way I used to. Noise was my biggest worry before I tried it. Portable air conditioners move a lot of air, and you can usually hear them from anywhere in the room. DOMANKI quotes around 48 decibels. Numbers aside, here is how it sounds in real life. On the highest setting, you get a steady whoosh and a gentle compressor hum, but it is consistent, not harsh. I can take a work call without turning up my microphone gain, and I can watch television at my normal volume. In sleep mode, the fan steps down and the sound blends into the background. If you need studio quiet, this is still a fan and a compressor, so you will hear it. If you are just trying to get through a July afternoon or sleep through a muggy night, it is easy to live with. Humidity control surprised me in a good way. The dehumidifier mode pulls moisture out of the air fast enough that the room stops feeling sticky, even if the temperature is not set very low. That makes a big difference in basements or on rainy days when the air just hangs. The self-evaporation system takes care of the water most of the time. Through weeks of regular use, I have not had to drain a tank. I keep an eye on the indicators just in case, but so far it has handled the moisture on its own. Here is what day-to-day use looks like for me. In the morning, I wheel it near the office window, connect the hose, and press power. I set the target temperature a couple degrees below what feels comfortable so it gets ahead of the heat, then nudge it back up once the room is stable. If I am leaving for lunch, I tap the timer so it shuts off an hour later, and when I get back, I start it from the remote before I sit down. For late afternoon sun, when the room used to feel like a greenhouse, I switch to high fan and let the swing sweep air across the desk and the reading chair. That movement matters. It keeps the whole space even instead of blasting only one corner. At night, I roll it to the living room and set it to sleep mode. I like that the display dims and the fan eases down without an abrupt change. If I am watching a movie, dialogue is still clear, and the background hum fades from attention after a couple of minutes. On a few especially humid nights, I used dehumidifier mode by itself. The temperature stayed steady while the air felt noticeably lighter, which is something I really appreciate when I am not trying to make the room cold, just comfortable. There are a couple of thoughtful touches that make it feel more polished than a lot of portable units I have used. The filter is easy to pop out and rinse under a faucet. It takes a minute, and it keeps the airflow strong. The hose has enough length to reach a window without forcing me to push the unit into an awkward spot, but it does not sag or collapse once it is set. The base feels balanced when rolling over hard floors and low pile rugs, so it does not wobble or scrape. Small things, but they matter when you are using something every day. It is not perfect, and I think that is important to say. Portable air conditioners draw real power when they are working hard. During a heat wave when I ran it many hours a day on the highest setting, I saw my electric bill climb compared to weeks when I relied on fans. That is expected for this category, but it is worth noting if you are very energy conscious. There is also no such thing as a completely silent portable air conditioner. This one is quieter than I expected, but there is always some fan noise, especially when you want maximum cooling. And you do need floor space near a window for the exhaust. In a very small room, the footprint may feel tight. None of these are deal breakers for me, but they are real-world trade-offs. DOMANKI rates this unit for spaces up to around 700 square feet. I cannot measure cooling like a lab, but in my experience that claim lines up. In closed rooms or moderately open spaces, it keeps temperatures in check and the humidity under control. In very wide, open-plan areas, I still feel the difference, though I sometimes pair it with a ceiling fan to keep air moving. That combination works well and lets me dial the temperature a bit higher without losing comfort. What sticks with me after living with it is the consistency. Every time I turn it on, I get a strong stream of cold air right away. The controls are obvious, so I do not overthink settings. The window kit stays sealed, so I am not fighting heat leaks, and I do not find myself babysitting it. I set my target, set a timer, and go about my day. That is exactly what I want from something that is supposed to make the space more comfortable. If you are deciding whether this is right for you, here is how I would frame it. You want strong, fast cooling without a permanent installation. You want a unit that is easy to roll between rooms and simple to set up with a window kit. You want controls that make sense, a sleep mode that actually lets you sleep, and a dehumidifier that keeps muggy days from dragging you down. You understand that any portable air conditioner will make some sound and use a fair amount of power when it is working hard, and you have a bit of floor space near a window to dedicate to it. That is where this DOMANKI shines. It brings rooms down to a comfortable temperature quickly. It is sturdy and easy to maintain, and it has stayed reliable through weeks of hot days and warm nights. I will update specific information about the DOMANKI 14,000 BTU Portable Air Conditioner in the comments. Don't forget to catch my next video.